He'll whip it across. Ibrahimovic brings it down on Smith, and he scores! Torres trying to send it up. Zimmerman couldn't get it away from Ibrahimovic, who dribbles around Miller, and the Galaxy retake the lead. We haven't even played 15 minutes.
Daniel Steres now lobs into the area. Pontius knocks it down. Corona. Ibrahimovic looking for the second chance. Score! On the bicycle! And the Galaxy pull one back. They're not done yet.
Ibrahimovic. It's lovely from Zlatan. It's fantastic. Oh, he's still got it. Rolling back the years. This was where he introduced himself to his adoring LA public last year. It's lovely from Zlatan. It's fantastic. Ozzy Alonso scores the first ever goal at Allianz Field.
Zlatan again!
Around the goalkeeper, and Quintero scores!
Pavon cutting in, Pavon scores!
Just when you thought you'd seen it all, you ain't seen nothing yet! The Loons are heading to the postseason!
Greetings from Minnesota, St. Paul to be precise, where we are just about a half an hour away from the final round one MLS Cup playoff showdown of 2019. It'll feature the visiting Los Angeles Galaxy and that man, the Lion, the number 9, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He'll be welcomed by the fans of Minnesota United, led by MLS stalwart Ozzy Alonso, a guy who knows a thing or two about success this time of year. They are loony about their football here in Minnesota. The Wonderwall, as they have come to be known, dark clouds, true North elite. They still got about 40 minutes to kill before they can really let roar here in Minnesota. Great to have you with us. This is MLS Countdown Live alongside Herculez Gomez. I'm Sebastian Salazar. We have tons of folks to get to in this show. You're going to hear an interview from the guy we just saw on camera, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. We've got other players stopping by live as well. We're going to pop up to the broadcast booth to hear from Jon Champion and Taylor Twellman in just a little bit. Of course, they'll bringing you the action on ESPN, as you just saw, in about 40 minutes time. Hey, look, there's one of MLS fans' favorite referees, Ted Uncle. I wonder if he could be in the mix tonight, a little source of controversy. All right, Herc, this is your first trip to Minnesota, right, to this stadium, is that correct?
To this stadium, yes. Last time I was here, they played in USL, and they did not have this. This is impressive.
What do you think of it?
It's amazing. It reminds me a lot of other stadiums I've been to in Major League Soccer, and when I say that, it's because I think they've taken a little bit of what we've seen around Major League Soccer. Behind us, Wonderwall, well, we see that in Orlando. And if you look immediately at the sidelines, it's got a little bit of that blue hell in Kansas City. If you look directly at the other end of the field, you have the Brew Hall, which reminds me of San Jose. And if you look at the outskirts, the outside of this stadium, it does remind me a little of Red Bull Arena.
We've seen Sebastian Lletget warming up right now, Darwin Quintero as well. We're expecting to hear from Sebastian Lletget in a live interview in just about 20 minutes. Darwin Quintero not in the starting 11 tonight for Minnesota. Herc, that's a former teammate of yours. We're not going to get too deep into this game right now, but boy, that's a big loss.
That's a huge loss. He's easily one of the most talented players I've ever shared the field with. But he's one of those all-or-nothing players. You have to take Darwin Quintero with the good and the bad. If he's on, nobody can stop him. But it's mentally how he is. Is he mentally there tonight? We know that he's been a little bit under the weather as well.
We have mentioned that we've got Jon and Taylor standing by up in the booth. Let's bring them in now. Guys, thanks so much for the time. I know you're building up to this broadcast. Taylor, I had you on ESPN FC this week. We were talking about this game. I don't really know who the favorite is here. Like, Minnesota's at home, they got a better defensive record, but I can't get out of my head that Zlatan is just a big game player. For that reason, I think Galaxy are the favorites here, but you guys might see it differently.
I don't know about you, John, but I actually look at this as Minnesota United being the favorite. In large part, Seb and Herc, the way the playoffs have gone, we've seen 5 playoff games, all 5 home teams have won. But more importantly, when you look at Zlatan and the way he's performed, predominantly those games have been home. And those big moments have been at home. They've struggled, they've given up a ton of goals. From my point of view, John, I don't know how you see it, but I look at Minnesota United being favored, but not by a ton. If it's 55-45, that's probably the highest I'd go on that.
No, I mean, I'm reluctant to talk about Ibrahimovic all the time, but there is one great imponderable whenever you watch the Galaxy play, and that is he going to perform? And yes, you're right, he doesn't perform with as much potency or frequency generally away from home as he does at Dignity Health Sports Park. For me, Minnesota United are the better football team. There's no question in my mind about that. And LA Galaxy are almost dysfunctional in some senses because of this over-reliance on Zlatan Ibrahimovic and the fact that it's basically him. He's almost like a special teams, except you can't wheel him on and wheel him off. He stays out there all the time.
You just became very American with that comment. You know that? I'm very proud of you.
It's a slightly naive interpretation, but
you're going to have McDonald's for breakfast tomorrow too. But I like that.
In that case, I take back everything I've just said.
But I think you're 100% spot on, John. It's almost like their dysfunction. They kind of play into that. They're almost saying, you know what, Zlatan's going to stay in the 18. We're going to do everything we can. We're going to throw numbers forward. Tonight, I think you're going to see a different LA Galaxy because of the one-off playoff system. I think they're going to sit in and try to defend. Now, my biggest concern for that, Seb and Herc, I don't know if they have that. I don't think that's in their DNA. I don't think that's in Antuna's DNA, Pavone's DNA. Zlatan isn't going to defend. We've seen it all year long. And now you throw Perry Kitchen in, who's only had 6 starts all year. His last one at the end of, if I'm not mistaken, August. Right? So you're rolling the dice a little bit, and I think they're trying to find some answers to a team that's given up 59 goals all year.
Guys, I was watching Herc's bracket picks earlier, and he very much disagrees with what you're saying. You think the Galaxy are the favorites, not just here against LAFC. Like, you're picking them halfway to MLS Cup, right?
Listen, we've all talked to Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and all he says is how much regular season games in Major League Soccer don't mean anything. Well, guess what? He finally has a chance for a meaningful Major League Soccer game. And all I've seen out of Zlatan Ibrahimovic, every time he talks, he backs it up. There is no bigger venue for him than tonight in Major League Soccer. All that talk, Zlatan's going to come out and play tonight. Christian Pavone has been a very exciting element that's been added into this Zlatan mix that I don't think we've talked enough about. I think that's the X factor tonight. There is no more imposing player I've seen in Major League Soccer's history than Zlatan Ibrahimovic. And tonight, even though Minnesota United have only lost once at home, I'm taking the Galaxy.
You say every time he talks, he delivers. Let's listen to what he had to say just a few moments ago when I caught up with him just outside the Galaxy locker room. Zlatan, you've played in plenty of MLS regular season games. This is your first playoff game. How have the days leading up to this been different?
We approach the game same way as the regular season. Prepare good and train good the whole week, and we're ready, and let's play this game.
You guys have suffered away from home. Many of your goals have come in Los Angeles. Why will it be different tonight?
I mean, today is about win or lose. So if we lose, it's over. We don't have any second chance or second thought. So let's go for it and change that.
How does that impact the way you play?
I play the same way. We have to do less mistakes, try, believe, and play with a lot of confidence.
You've won everywhere you've been, Zlatan. If you were to leave MLS without MLS Cup, would you feel you were a success here?
Still the best in history in MLS. No worries.
Thank you, Zlatan. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Still the best in MLS history. No worries. Look, the guy doesn't have a confidence problem. Let's get down to the brass tacks. Is he the best in MLS history if he doesn't win MLS Cup?
No, but he is, for my money, the most physically imposing. He's the one guy who changes the way you have to play against him, changes the way you defend him. We saw versus LAFC, first half, they tried contending with him in the air, and they couldn't beat him. The second half, LAFC just dropped back. We can't beat him. Let's try to figure out a different way to defend him, to contain him. They still couldn't do that.
Taylor, John, we've been hearing the rumors all week. First it was Fiorentina, then it was Napoli. Taylor, you feel like we're kind of at the end of the Zlatan era here?
I do, definitely so. And I do think he's in the conversation as one of the most imposing players this league's ever seen. But this league's been around a while, and people forget Stern John in Columbus was a dominant player. Mamadou Diallo was an imposing player for the Tampa Bay Mutiny, but neither player combined or times 10 has the pedigree of what Zlatan has done because he's opened his mouth and he's backed it up. My biggest concern for Zlatan and the LA Galaxy in the playoffs, he's 38 years old. So if they advance tonight, John, and he's not a huge role and he doesn't have to give a ton of effort, then they've got a legitimate chance against LAFC. But if he has to pull a rabbit out of his hat, if he has to contribute a lot and then fly to LA and try to play and be that factor Thursday night, I'm just not sure he can pull it off as a 38-year-old.
No, I tend to agree with you. I think there's a limited amount left in the tank, particularly in a short space of time. I mean, for me, to put Zlatan into an MLS context, he's the greatest showman that this league has seen, and I would have thought he's probably fairly unhappy to have missed out to Hugh Jackman for that role in the film, because that would be right up his street, wouldn't it?
Hey, John, let me ask you something real quick as our European influence on this show. What kind of player you think Zlatan would be in Serie A at this advanced age?
I think he'd still be effective. I mean, he says he'd score 20 goals a season if he was taken on by Fiorentina or Napoli. I don't know whether he'd get 20, he'd get 15, which is, in an Italian context, is a lot of goals. I think he would still thrive, because the standard of defending is not what it used to be in Serie A. There are not the hatchet men. They can't exist in the way that they used to in that league because of VAR and all the other gadgets and things that are available in terms of analysis of a game these days. But I think what he would be a massive star, even at 38 and a bit in Serie A, because it's a league that's been in the doldrums in recent years. Yes, they've got Cristiano Ronaldo. They need some more stars. And even at 38, I think he would be a massive get for virtually any Serie A team.
And Seb, the other point to that is Serie A can still use old-fashioned target men. They can still use an immobile target man that's good inside the 18. It does suit Zlatan for a 6-month run, but I'm with John. To say 20 goals, which means he'll score 22 goals, and I'll be completely off on it. But the reality is I still think he's got a little bit in the tank if he's going to go there on a 6-month run.
John, Taylor, great stuff, guys. Thanks for the time. We look forward to your call. 8:30 Eastern on ESPN. The boys will be taking over the coverage from our spot right down here on the field. Look, this is, as I mentioned at the top of the show, the 6th and final Round 1 MLS Cup playoff match. Now, last year we had leg 1, we had leg 2. I have criticized Major League Soccer for about everything that they've ever done in the last 5-10 years. I got to hold my hand up. Man, they nailed this playoff switch. We're about to go through some of the highlights. I mean, these games have been crazy, dude.
It's injected into my veins, please. More of this. This is what we've been waiting for. We've been complaining about how these games don't ever mean anything. They finally mean something, and check these games out.
So the first game, we're going to go with Atlanta and New England. Ezequiel Barco to Franco Escobar, and look out, Atlanta's heating up right time of the year.
It's a little familiar. I remember that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You never want to see an Atlanta team getting good come the fall. Seattle FC Dallas. People are saying this is an instant classic, one of the best games in MLS playoff history. I don't know about all that. In the end, though, Jordan Morris in extra time manages to sneak one across the line, and the Sounders, I think they're your MLS Cup pick, aren't they?
They are going to get to the finals, but they're not my pick.
In your bracket. Of course, a former employer of yours. Oh, this was a tough one. DC United tying it in like the 92nd minute, goes to extra time.
Are you okay?
And then Toronto just starts scoring by the boatload.
Seb, are you okay?
I mean, I'm not great.
worried for you. Are you okay? You actually had DC in this one. I picked Toronto. Where's your guy? Where's he going?
My guy. My easy with that. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. Wayne Rooney walking off into the sunset. No sunset here. RSL Portland was just like a sleet snow fest. Goes very late, 87th minute. Jefferson Savarino. If Ale Moreno was here, he would give us a Vamos Venezuela.
He did give us a Vamos Venezuela.
There it is. RSL. They keep the Kyle Beckerman / Nick Raimondo era alive, and then this was earlier this afternoon. I mean, I'm telling you, these games have been crazy. Extra time between Philly and the New York Red Bulls. The Red Bulls blew 2 different 2-goal leads. Marco Fabian, shot, cross, deflection. I don't know. It all works the same. Philadelphia, their first ever playoff win. That's a big, big win, not just for Jim Curtin, but for that whole franchise. Again, I think when you look at MLS headquarters, and we criticize them a lot, I just can never remember a 1-year switch in the intensity of playoffs like what we've gotten this time around.
They've definitely set a very, very high bar for Minnesota and LA Galaxy tonight. Amazing these games, but they finally mean something. You can't sit back. You can't say, I have the second leg. You can't say there's always another 90 minutes. You have to go for it tonight. It doesn't matter if you're the home team or the away team. That goal can be the difference.
All right, well, speaking of intensity, there's one clip that I would like to bring up from that DC United-Toronto game, because it did sting me a little bit. And I know our guys back in the truck have it. This is late in the game. Match already decided. Wayne Rooney, I'm not the analyst here. How would you describe that, Herc?
listen, I got to go to Derby County. I don't want to get hurt. I don't even want to be here anymore. We're already losing. Get me off the field. That's exactly what happened.
Is that acceptable?
Hey, what are you going to do? Kick him off DC United? He's
Well, I
already
would
gone.
just like to say this. A long, long time ago, there's a guy who told you that DC United signing Wayne Rooney wasn't a great idea.
Are
What
you
do you
telling
know?
me
2
that
years
wasn't
later,
a success?
Zero. Yeah, I'm telling you it wasn't a success.
A
How many
team
playoff
like
wins?
DC
How many playoff
United
wins?
that wasn't relevant
Zero.
for many years was all of a sudden
Zero.
relevant when they opened
Zero
up that
playoff
field.
wins for Wayne Rooney.
You know better than this. It was a resounding success for DC United and that limited budget.
They spent about $15 million on him. You know, I go back to DC, I got a stadium without a roof on it. I got an academy that's
You want
got
a roof?
That's got
There's no
fewer-
roof here.
I like a roof.
I don't
got
see
this.
Minnesota complaining.
I got this. Anyway, it's a show for another time. All right, so let's show you.
What did he do to you?
Let's show you some odds, right? Now, of course, this is, I believe, up to date after the latest results. This coming in from Las Vegas. This was entering today of the MLS odds. You grew up in Las Vegas.
Yes, I did.
LAFC, look at that. There's a massive, massive favorite to win it all.
Wow.
Anybody there on that list stand out to you as like a good value
Seattle.
at plus 800?
I have them going to MLS Cup. I have them losing to Atlanta. The reason I don't have LAFC is LAFC has yet to give us that marquee game that they're supposed to win. That game where they prove to us that they are not soft. That game where Carlos Vela puts the team on his shoulders and he takes care of business, because we've had Salt Lake, that one-off versus Salt Lake and LAFC back in California where they lose. We've seen many games versus the LA Galaxy where they've gotten torched with Zlatan Ibrahimovic and that LA Galaxy team, and they also have lost this Minnesota team. I don't see them advancing whether it's LA Galaxy or Minnesota.
28 minutes till kickoff as we take a look at the Wonderwall. They'll be singing at the end of the game. They have the tradition that they sing the Oasis song Wonderwall if Minnesota United wins. So I know they'll be hoping to warm up those voices for a victory song. Later they've got some drummers in there too, and they've been pretty clever. They call that the Thunderwall. And of course, you know, it used to be the
Can you repeat
Minnesota
that?
Thunder was the team that was here
Can you
before.
repeat that? What do they call it?
The Thunderwall. I thought it was like pretty clever.
Listen, this is a real environment. When I see other venues around Major League Soccer, I sometimes complain about culture. They have it here.
They have it here in Spain.
As many places you can go around the world, Europe, Latin America. This is something real here in Minnesota. First playoff game, bring it.
So the boys were talking about showman earlier in this program. They're talking about Zlatan as an all-time great showman. You know who's a real all-time great showman? A Minnesota icon.
Versus
Prince.
Zlatan.
Okay? The pride of Minnesota versus the king of Malmo. 16 platinum records versus 31 career titles. One, the love symbol. The other, a self-proclaimed god. A Simpsons cameo versus a Simpsons cameo. From one quote machine to another quote machine. So who said what? It's harder than you think. We found some Minnesota fans and some LA Galaxy fans and put them to the test. And for a great quote, you gotta have a great voice. Here's Jon Champion.
Whenever life's at a standstill, I need some action.
That sounds like Prince. I feel like Zlatan would have like more to say on the topic, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
The answer is Zlatan. My hair is capable of doing a lot of different things.
That's Prince. That's Prince. I mean, you just gotta look
Prince.
at the guy, right?
The answer is Prince.
Yeah.
Don't hate me because I'm fabulous.
Me, that's not third person. That has to be like Prince. Zlatan would say something like, don't hate me because I'm a Ferrari or something. Or like, don't hate me because I'm a Louis Vuitton or something.
Like,
You can throw a brand in.
Yeah. We'll go Prince. We'll go Prince.
The answer is Prince.
Yeah.
There you go. So we got you, baby.
I think I'm like wine. The older I get, the better I get.
Zlatan.
Zlatan.
The answer is Zlatan.
I mean, come on. Listen, if you guys know that, we don't know that. Come on, yeah, you know?
I can't help but laugh at how perfect I am.
I mean, it is something Zlatan would say. We'd be like, Zlatan, gone,
Zlatan.
Zlatan.
The answer is Zlatan.
Right, okay.
Right.
One more.
That's what we do.
Okay, so we're all tied up, and that can only mean sudden death. And this is your quote: "I don't have any enemies."
Zlatan has a lot of enemies, man. Like good taste.
Zlatan.
And the answer is Prince. Congratulations, Minnesota.
Hey, look, I'm not mad about that.
4 wins.
All the way to the end with Z. All the way to the end with Zlatan. All the way to the end. Listen, it's okay. It's the only thing Minnesota's winning this weekend.
52 goals for Zlatan Ibrahimovic in 56 MLS games, but he's never played in an MLS playoff match until tonight. What's your favorite Zlatan quote? Mine's Ferraris and Fiats. Got to be Ferraris and Fiats, right?
Ferraris and Fiats is a very good one. Yeah, that's up there for sure.
I'm interested. You did an interview with his teammate, Christian Pavone, and he was talking about LAFC, and I think he actually said LAFC is scared of Zlatan. Like, you don't hear the word scared used a lot in professional athletics. That says a lot about who this guy is.
He's the most imposing player I've ever seen in Major League Soccer. With all due respect to the legends,
do you mean that
came
physically,
before
or
him.
do you mean like mentally, like the way
Both.
he dominates guys?
He gets under your skin. He moves you around with his body. He beats you before the game even starts. There is no more imposing player in Major League Soccer. He talks all this, but he backs it up. You see on the field what he's able to do, the way teams have to change for him. I've never seen that with any player in Major League Soccer. Oh, and by the way, he has that pedigree. Have you ever seen anybody at all retaliate or reply to Zlatan?
No.
No. What, you want to know why?
Dude, I've had to ask him a question. Yeah,
there's nothing to say to him.
When he gives you that
backs it up.
stare, I mean, you feel about 10 inches tall. I set myself up for that one. Yeah.
You are about 10 inches tall. But listen,
hey, let me ask you this then. What's the case for him not being the MVP? Because I know Carlos Vela has the amazing season, right? 34 goals, 15 assists. But I still think without Carlos Vela, LAFC is a very good team and probably a playoff team. There is zero chance that the LA Galaxy are in the postseason without his goals. Zero chance. So to me, when you say valuable, I think Zlatan actually has a better case for most valuable player.
Yeah, but now you're discarding what's
I'm not
Carlos Vela
discarding.
has done with
I'm not
LAFC.
discarding. I'm talking about the difference in the quality between the two
record-setting
teams.
team. Offensively, what he's been able to do, his assist as well, the combination record of goals and assists.
All right, one game, who you taking? You got to win one game. Who you
I'm
taking?
taking
Vela or
Zlatan.
Of course
I'm taking
you are.
Zlatan all day.
Of course you are. We saw it in LA, right?
Absolutely.
Carlos Vela had a bad game. He still scored 2 goals. But Zlatan in that game, we were both in the building for that. I mean, and he has this attitude or this ability.
There's an air about him. He knows exactly the moment. No moment is too big for him. If you're telling me his first Major League Soccer playoff game is going to be nerve-wracking for him or it's going to be different, no way. It doesn't matter if it's home or away. I will take Zlatan Ibrahimovic any day of the week.
And you'll appreciate this. Like, you know what? A showman always brings it on the biggest show. And I feel like every time we've seen him, whether it was his debut, whether it's the LA Derby, whatever it is, when it's a big game, when he's been questioned, when Vela has been compared to him and he didn't like that, I mean, he doesn't just step up, dude. He brings home like an all-time performance.
Listen, I know Iko Para is a very, very good defender. He's the defender of the year in Major League Soccer. He's obviously a very, very smart person, very smart player. But you have to change everything about your game when you go against Zlatan. And I don't know if this Minnesota United team can adapt the right way to contain Zlatan.
There's some kind of rumblings that Zlatan may leave, and that maybe that's kind of good for the Galaxy, right? They need to reset this team without such a central figure that mandates that you have to kind of play his way. Do you think there's a future where the Galaxy are, and this, I can't believe I'm saying this, are better without him?
I don't know if they're better without him on or off the field.
Jon Champion calls them kind of a dysfunctional team. You know, they really serve only
they're very
his
top
purpose.
heavy. You're very, and there's a reason you talk about the Galaxy and how they've leaked goals. But this Galaxy team, when Zlatan's on the field, they're forced to play one way to Zlatan because he's that player. You need to feed the lion. But if he leaves, what you miss with him off the field and on the field, I don't know if you can replace.
It's interesting. I mean, the Galaxy have always had stars, but they never had a star that performed like this. You can say whatever about Beckham, but even Beckham off the field was not the kind of central media figure that Zlatan has been. At least I don't remember it that way. Do you?
I remember.
You
David
remember
Beckham,
the hype, but he wasn't on Sports Center every night.
Well,
he wasn't on Jimmy Kimmel every night.
I remember David Beckham very, very vividly, and he changed the course of this league. He changed what is Major League Soccer and the the designated player rule, he definitely changed what is Major League Soccer today. Zlatan is a very good player, and if he will ever be marked in the history of Major League Soccer, but you're comparing apples to oranges there.
I want to really quick dive in on this Galaxy lineup. They're doing something different today. They're basically going 4 central backs across the back line. They're also putting Perry Kitchen, a guy who hasn't played all that much, into the starting lineup, so it's going to be a drastically different look from the LA Galaxy, maybe a little bit more conservative. We're joined now right here on the field by Ethan Finley, courteous enough to give us some time just before kickoff. We won't take up too much of your time. Look, we got this fantastic setting here. How is it different now that it's finally the postseason?
Well, this gives us an opportunity to make all this hard work over 34 games to pay off. These fans have been great all year. They've been great for 3 years. They deserve this home playoff game, and we want to have them go home with a win.
A lot of people are talking about Zlatan, but you guys are at home. Do you feel like the favorites?
Yeah, it doesn't matter if we're the favorites or the underdogs. They're a very good team, very talented team. But we think it's about us tonight. It's about the 11 guys on the field. It's us keeping good defensive shape, taking advantage of our chances offensively, and keeping this great record at home.
Ethan, the playoffs have been absolutely wild. They've been definitely drunk. What do you do? What can you do to sober these playoffs off and come out here with the win?
Well, I love the terminology there. I think it's being composed in the first 15 minutes. The crowd's going to have us going, and we got to use that momentum. But as the game goes on, make sure we're managing the game.
Thank you.
Ethan, all right, we'll let you go. Get in the locker room, get yourself ready. We'll see you out there. I think it's very interesting what Ethan says. I was here when they opened this building on April 13. The place was loud, it's intense, a little bit like a tinderbox, a little bit like LAFC, where like crazy things happen early. That game exploded early. I'm getting some of that feeling now, are you?
Absolutely. I don't think I've experienced energy quite like this, which makes me think, and we talk about big players, big moments, who's going to feed off this energy?
Yeah, I think it's a fair question. I mean, it's got to be the home side, right? You've got a huge advantage opening up in this.
You've only lost once in this venue, and that was against Philadelphia Union, that 3-2. But I don't think you've ever had a player like Zlatan Ibrahimovic. And I know we're talking a lot of Zlatan, but you look at the other side of what's going to help Zlatan is Christian Pavón.
Yep.
Christian Pavón is definitely that X factor for me. He's been electric since he's joined the Galaxy. He's changed the complexion of this team.
We're talking about Zlatan. We've seen some of the Minnesota United players heading back to their locker room for final instructions. What is your final instruction if you're telling somebody to go out and defend Zlatan?
I think composure. I think you have to realize that this moment cannot be bigger than you. You have to realize whatever happens, it doesn't have to change the game. I know one game can change and open things up, but if you're Minnesota, you have to understand that you're at home, and it's not the end of the world to get scored on.
Who do you feel like the pressure's on here?
Believe it or not, I feel the pressure's on the Galaxy.
Really?
Yes.
Because the end of the Zlatan era looms?
The end of the Zlatan era, what they've gone through, the way they ended the season. Minnesota United, to me, is playing with house money.
How can you say that? They're at home.
Well, last 2 years, they've given up over 100 and how many, 40 goals.
But they've been built into this.
Exactly.
They've been built into
and
this.
You get your playoff game. To me, they're on house money. They've shown that they can be a different club doing things a different way. But if you're the LA Galaxy and what you spent, and if you lose Zlatan, this could be a deal breaker for you.
All right, well, we have pretty much run out of time here on MLS Countdown Live. We'll leave you with these images of Allianz Arena. Minnesota United FC, the 4th seed in the West, about to host the LA Galaxy, the 5 seed out of the Western Conference. Jon Champion, Taylor Twellman on the call. Turn off your Twitters, turn on your TV, head over to ESPN.
Historic day in the Twin Cities as Minnesota United taste the postseason for the first time, aiming to end the hopes of the most successful club in the history of MLS. No team has more playoff progressions than the Galaxy. No player attracts more attention than their star turn, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Today,